Hi folks, so if you're a diehard fan of mine, you would know I created a video about Gorilla Tag YouTube and why it sucked. In that video, I briefly mentioned these 3 AM type of Gorilla Tag videos. I didn't decide to talk about them specifically because I wanted to talk about more broad topics. Well, recently, I was scrolling on YouTube and I came across one of those videos again. From there, I fell down a rabbit hole of Gorilla Tag content farms. From the constant use of the same TikTok and or YouTube short sounds to those fake 3 AM videos, I saw a lot. So today, I want to go over a few of those channels I came across. Before we begin with our first channel, however, I need to say something. I don't condemn any harassment towards any channel mentioned in this video, nor do I support anyone doing it. Going out of your way to harass someone for the content they make when all they want is usually just money or views is pathetic and shouldn't happen. I also am not hating on any of these channels. I simply want to analyze them and what makes them a content farm, and maybe share a few laughs about them. With all that out of the way, let's begin talking about the first Gorilla Tag content farmer. When it comes to Gorilla Tag content farms, there are many types of them. However, I'd rather talk about 2 specific types. The first of these being TikTok or YouTube Shorts copy and paste sounds. If you were around the community in 2023, you possibly may remember the constant usage of these types of videos. The content was usually on YouTube Shorts and consisted of someone's footage of them playing Gorilla Tag and having some sound about someone giving an offer or someone telling a story in the background. These videos are incredibly lazy and mess with kids' attention spans, which is kind of manipulative. Fortunately, this trend died out over time and hasn't seen a resurgence since. However, there is one creator that still does this content and somehow gets a lot of views from it. His name is Icevr. He isn't all too big, only 38,000 subscribers, however he does rack up a lot of views, so I think it's fair to bring him up. I found him after searching up Gorilla Tag content. Wow, I got desperate during that rabbit hole, huh? The first thing that showed up was this video talking about Icevr. Immediately I found his channel and oh boy was it not good. Icevr originally uploaded normal shorts content of him juking kids or just edits of Gorilla Tag footage. This content is good and there's not much for me to talk about. However, he eventually uploaded one of those "would you take this offer?" shorts. What's interesting is that this short didn't even get that many views. What made Icevr want to make more of them confuses me and I'm still not too sure why. What I do know is that the second time he uploaded one of these shorts, it did really well and Icevr has kept making more and more ever since. The shorts themselves aren't really that special. Usually it's just "would you take this offer?" and then listing off a bunch of things Gorilla Tag players dream of getting. It's lazy and he barely ever changes these videos up. It's usually the exact same offers, always ending in the call to action that finishing the offer would be to like and subscribe. Surely not a lot of people would fall for this, but wouldn't you know it, people do. Though I do find it funny how in his About Me section, he adds a disclaimer that all the offers are only what-if scenarios, though I don't know why he doesn't just say this in the shorts. There's not really much else to talk about in regards to Icevr's channel. I'm not too sure why he cashed in on this trend so late, but clearly it's working. Overall, Icevr's channel is a good example of a lazy Gorilla Tag content farm, though it is harmless. Speaking of harmless, I bet there's at least someone out there who's watching this video and wondering if I'm going to talk about Flushy GT. Flushy GT is one of Gorilla Tag's most hated YouTubers, and I can understand why. His form of content is really similar to those YouTube short sounds trends that I've been talking about. However, would I call him a content farm? No, not really. Sure, his content is lazy at points. However, at the same time, it seems like a lot of what he does on his channel is mainly just for fun, not for benefit. I don't know for sure if this is true, but that's what it seems like because his content can be all over the place. So yeah, Flushy GT isn't a content farm, mostly because it seems like he does YouTube out of passion instead of wishing for a profit. Remember when I said that Icevr is harmless? Well, to be fair, everyone I mentioned in this video is harmless when it comes to their content. It doesn't reach depraved levels of content farms like some of the most infamous ones on YouTube. However, that doesn't mean they aren't worthy of talking about, because this stuff is hilarious. Now we can move on to the other type of Gorilla Tag content farms, that being those 3 AM videos. If I can be completely honest, they aren't really taking place at 3 AM. That's just something I'd rather call it because it's pretty similar to those calling so-and-so at 3 AM videos. If you were around the Gorilla Tag community for more than a week, you would know about Gorilla Tag ghosts and how they scared a bunch of kids while also getting a lot of popularity in the process. If you have more than 3 brain cells, you'd know those ghosts are just regular players with mods trying to scare kids for a reaction. In truth, this kind of content where people troll little children is pretty entertaining, but over time it got boring and died down a bit in popularity. Here's the thing, there's another genre of Gorilla Tag ghost videos where people hunt down these modders by joining ghost codes. This content, unlike the trolling videos, hasn't died down in popularity yet. With many of the biggest creators making videos like this, it's no wonder to be really popular. These videos themselves aren't really content farms, however there are channels who saw the popularity of this trend and twisted it to get more kids' attentions. These kinds of videos follow the same format: go into a ghost code, find the ghost the video is all about, and then run away from it. The reason these channels are different is specifically because it's so fake. I have multiple of these channels that I want to talk about today that fall under this genre of ghost videos. And interestingly enough, each of these channels have the similarity of using unique models for their gorilla tag ghosts. So let's get started talking about the first of the few I found. The first one I want to talk about is Mace, and oh goodness is he big. He's not the largest in terms of subscribers that we'll be talking about today, but having 377,000 subscribers definitely is big. Mace, also known as Really Mace, created his channel on March 21st, 2024, so he's been on YouTube for around a year. At first, Mace was making the regular kind of gorilla tag content, just the normal pretending to be a pro, playing knockoff games, modding, and more. Something interesting is that his first video was an investigating gorilla tag ghost video. This video doesn't seem to be fake like the rest of his ghost videos, like he actually has realistic reactions, despite the ghosts themselves being really fake. This video is also the first appearance of Arlo, the guy who shows up in most of Mace's content. Keep Arlo in mind, we'll be getting into him later in the video, but for now, let's focus on Mace. These videos compared to the rest of his channel didn't do all that well, not getting that many views. However, that all changed when he uploaded I Hunted PvPV at 3 AM. This video probably took off at the time of uploading because Mace would continue to make videos just like it. The videos themselves follow the same format. Mace and his friends join a ghost code, look around a bit, find the ghost, run, eventually someone gets possessed and the video ends off on a cliffhanger. This content, though probably entertaining to little children, is hilariously fake. The biggest giveaway to this is the terrible acting of Mace and his crew. It's actually really funny as everyone overreacts and does everything but leave the lobby to escape the fake ghost. Of course, Mace only makes his content for the views and subscribers, and in the end this content is still harmless. But again, it's genuinely so funny, I have to talk about it. Every now and then he'd switch up the content a bit, but it still involved gorilla tag ghosts in some way. Soon he ran out of the popular gorilla tag ghosts everyone thinks of, so Mace moved on to make his own. These videos are interesting, not because they're different, no, they still follow the same format. It's actually because unique models not from the game are used. At first, it wasn't all too different from the regular models, however soon he completely used different models. For example, do you remember that dumb creepypasta character content farms love to use, Shin Sonic? Well, Mace went out of his way to use an actual kind of good model in his own videos where he hunted Shin Sonic down. These videos pulled the same amount of views as his old hunting videos, and something interesting is that every video that wasn't related to ghosts at all pulled a quarter of these views. It's kind of like Mace was trapped making this content, and who knows if he enjoyed making it. Recently, however, it seems as though Mace has changed up his content a bit. It's still a bit clickbaity, but he hasn't posted a hunting ghost video in 6 months, and ever since then his upload schedule gradually slowed down. Mace still uploads, but not as much as he used to. That's really all I have to talk about regarding Mace though. His content again is harmless and shouldn't be taken seriously. It's just really funny seeing their fake reactions to everything and the kids in the comments believing it's real. Now we can move on to the next channel. Remember when I told you to remember Arlo? Well, wouldn't you know it, he has his own channel too. There isn't much I can actually talk about because Arlo and Mace's channels is almost the exact same thing. Arlo still started out with regular content that isn't all too interesting to talk about. Once he made his Hunting Echo at 3 AM video, he saw a huge spike in views, a lot like Mace, so he continued making them. Interestingly enough, Mace appears in a lot of Arlo's videos as well. Their content is so similar that I'm surprised they didn't just share a channel. The videos are still the same format. Go into the ghost code, look around, find the monster, all that pizzazz. As he continued uploading, he would gradually transition to using more recognizable characters for the monster he's hunting, like Mace did. The two's videos are so similar actually, they use the same monsters in multiple different videos. Remember Shin Sonic? Well, Arlo made a Shin Sonic video too. The big difference between the two's videos isn't the acting. No, that's still terrible. It's actually the models themselves. For example, let's take a look at his Piggy video. When I sat down to watch a bit of his content for this video, I was shocked by how terrible the Piggy model looked. They didn't even bother making it scary, leaving the video to be comedy gold. Speaking of comedy, something I mentioned multiple times during Mace's section was how funny his videos were. Not because he tried to make it funny, no, it was ironically funny by how stupid it was. Arlo also has these comedy gold moments himself. Here's a couple clips from his cartoon cat video that are just amazing.
Oh my gosh! Dude, he's right there!
Yo,
Dude, Chey is like the smartest person in our group. Go, just go. Oh, don't look behind you, dude. Big cat, the stupid cartoon cat.
At this point, I think Arlo is a clone of Mace because he too slowed down and uploads gradually. I'm not too sure if he plans on making more of these ghost hunting videos, but to be honest, I desperately hope he does. It is so funny. Also, while I'm at it, I might as well mention Chey. Chey is the exact same as Mace and Arlo, except he found God in Gorilla Tag. He's a part of Mace's and Arlo's crew of people that may join them in the videos, and his videos, well, they're basically the same thing. Not much to commentate about, I just wanted to mention because of that God video. What the heck? Okay. This channel is what inspired me to do this, and when you saw the title and clicked on this video, you probably thought of this guy, or should I say, guys. Be Prepared feels like the face of Gorilla Tag content farms. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, all three of the members of Be Prepared have finger painter. For a long time, I thought the finger painter badge was given to those who represent the community well. So explain to me why a video about Italian brain rot in Gorilla Tag represents the game's community as a whole well. As mentioned earlier, Be Prepared is a channel that I believe is shared across 3 people, those 3 being King, Cannon, and Chase. The reason I'm not too sure if the channel is shared is because all the videos are filmed from the POV of King. What I can say for certain is that the 3 of them basically act like the mascots of the channel. The content at first was nothing to write home about, same thing as Mace and Arlo, except the acting is worse somehow. They didn't even start with normal videos actually, they just dived into the terribly fake ghost hunting videos. Interestingly enough, their first video came out before Mace and Arlo started making up completely new ghosts. My guess is they saw Mace and Arlo's videos getting really popular and decided to put their own spin on it, despite said spin being like, nothing. Something I haven't mentioned yet are the thumbnails. Mace and Arlo's thumbnails sometimes change it up a bit, despite really being the exact same thing a lot of the time. Be Prepared thumbnails at first were the exact same, with the ghost changing depending on the video. Eventually they would change their thumbnails up more, but for a while it was just the same thing with a slight change. Another thing I haven't mentioned about the past 2 channels is that they would sometimes branch out from hunting ghosts to busting myths or investigating or just trolling friends. The reason I haven't mentioned these videos is that they just aren't funny. Be Prepared does this too, but more times than they do hunting ghosts. Most of the thumbnails to these videos, by the way, are like actually really terrible. Like, what the heck is dark bloop? In the theory videos, they take a video from their Discord claiming a fan sent it to them and then check it out, pretending it's the first time they saw it. They never mention who sent the video, so I have to assume they just made it, but just to be sure, I need to join the Discord. Wish me luck, folks. Well, that was useless. The Discord was deader than a graveyard, and I really couldn't find any of the videos showing the myth videos, so all I have to assume is that it's really fake. Back to the more content farmy videos, Be Prepared is the channel that leans into the more brain rot side of content farms. Every other channel I would say has some form of brain rot, but Be Prepared is so much worse. It's to the point where I can call them the lanky box of Gorilla Tag, though they are nowhere near as bad. Starting at this video, King, Cannon, and Chase would stop being voiced from the people in the game and instead be voiced after the recording. The reason I bring this up is because Arlo did this too, but he at least gave mostly different voices to all the members. I'm not sure if there are different voice actors for Cannon and Chase, but all 3 of them sound the exact same in the video, and I can tell why they did this. It makes their quote-unquote comedy better, and allows for them to speak faster so that children's attention is always on the video. It's a bit manipulative, but it's common in kids' content farms nowadays and not that big of a deal. Eventually, Be Prepared would continue their hunting videos by taking popular kids media characters and throwing them in Gorilla Tag. The models look actually pretty decent, not the best, but it's at least better than whatever Arlo was burning in the kitchen. The acting in the videos is still terrible, but the voiceovers add better unintentional comedy. And guys, I have a confession to make. While watching one of these videos, one of the jokes actually made me laugh. You see, Cannon and Chase are both 2 of the dumbest creatures you'll ever see. It's not really the fact that they're dumb that made whatever joke I laughed at funny, it's more the fact it came out of nowhere and was actually clever. Cannon and Chase both have this cosmetic they call Chuckle Nuts or Chuckle Bear. I don't really know. They both heavily obsess over Chuckle, whatever, naming anything they do or find after it. In the video where they hunt down Yarnaby, yes, that exists. Chase says he has better echolocation than King and Cannon. However, he replaces echo with Chucko, leading to the word Chuckolocation to be born. Since this is the first video I watched on their channel for this video, this caught me off guard because I was expecting every joke to fall flat and not really be clever, but this one actually was clever, and I don't know, I kind of found it funny until they kept saying it over and over. The videos are nothing to write home about. It just consists of them screaming about how scary it is, Chase and Cannon being dumb, they have the stupidest idea on where to find the monster, they find the monster and just run for the rest of the video. It would be incredibly boring if it wasn't unintentionally hilarious. However, the reason I compare them to Lankybox is because if having loud and fast voices wasn't attention stealing enough, every few seconds a sound effect plays. These sound effects are not only annoying, but they use them the same way Lankybox does. Again, Be Prepared is 10 times better than Lankybox, but I'll point out similarities when I can. Again, the constant sound effects are to keep the attention of kids on the videos and nowhere else, which I still think is a bit manipulative, but again, it isn't that big of a deal anyway. Lately, Be Prepared has begun using Italian brain rot to get more views. Not much to it, I just think it's really hilarious. If their channel gonna get any more interesting, they have a second channel, Be Prepared Extras, which seems to just be compilations of all their videos. One more thing before we wrap this up, I don't want people getting the impression that King, Cannon, and Chase are bad people. I hope they aren't bad people, but from what I've seen, it seems as though they actually care for their community. They shout out and show fan art in the community tabs, which is something they don't have to do. However, it's nice and gives recognition to the artist. Sure, I think a bit of their content is scummy. However, I don't think that makes them bad people. In the end, they are the most popular Gorilla Tag content farmer, and it makes sense too. However, I really want them to continue this content, just tone it down a bit so that it doesn't steal attention to the little children all too much. Again, the unintentional comedy is incredible in these videos, which is why I want them to continue, but not take it too far. Well, that was fun. It's interesting to see how toned down these content farms are compared to some of the biggest on YouTube. I feel I should mention again that this video isn't trying to spread hate to these creators. This video should be taken as entertainment only, and not an okay to go harass or hate on these guys, as it seems as though all of them are good people. Thanks for watching this far though, it was a lot of fun to make, though it was also terrible to create. I don't really know how to end videos, so yeah, see ya.